Welcome into the Game Plan, presented by the Salisbury University Seagulls in support of alumnus Dan Quinn.
Welcome into the Game Plan with head coach Dan Quinn. We're in the Command Center Big Bear AI studio. I'm here with the legend Logan Paulsen. I'm Bryan Colbert Jr. And Coach, it feels good to have these shows after a win, Coach. We got the win at our home opener, our season opener against the New York Giants. You look like you're feeling good.
It was really cool to have our home game. You felt our fans. You felt every bit of it, the intensity of it, and have a division game. It was just the exact type of energy you want to start off the season.
I felt like the team kind of mirrored that a little bit. Like they just brought a juice, and maybe it's been a long time since we watched a game, Bryan, but I feel like they brought a juice that I wasn't expecting.
It was tough. It was aggressive. There's plenty for us to clean up.
Yeah.
Plenty. And that is usually what you should expect early on, how quickly you can get back to getting right. There's going to be mistakes, how quickly you can get back. And I think like the resilience piece, that's a big part of who we are and how we do things. And so you want to make sure it doesn't show up on the stat sheet, but get back to being right.
And Coach, I think all offseason, our job was to talk about the new look defensive line and what that was going to look like. There was question marks that we didn't know. Wow, they looked dominant and incredible. How happy were you to see those guys, especially those new guys like Javon Kinlaw, get out there and make their presence felt?
Yeah, I really wanted to make that attacking presence felt and make sure they could express that, like they can. And so that was cool. And what I'm hopeful is that was our first glimpse, and I'm excited to see them grow and see where they can take it, because we'll get better. We're going to keep getting better. And but I like their attitude, their play style, their effort, their toughness. If we get that part right, if you get the how right, that's a big deal, because you can call a lot of plays. But if you don't have the play style right and the attitude right to play tough, it's not going to matter.
I was going to say the other thing is they seemed like they were just working so well together also, like on line stunts and games, like the timing was good. And, when you have new people together, that's not always the case. So, you guys just must have been coaching your faces off this whole offseason.
It helps when you add a player like a Von Miller, because you're not just adding the player. It's also the communication, the experience, the knowledge to share that wisdom. And so that's a big deal, like he was already paying dividends before we even started.
And other new faces, we have them on that secondary as well. And this secondary last year was one of the best in the NFL, but now we've added even more talent. How do you think that group fared, especially guys like Will Harris, who this was their first time in the Burgundy and Gold?
Yeah, I thought Will really tackled both safeties. I thought were really tackling between him and Quan. And we knew outside, this is where Russell Wilson's magic is, the deep ball, the shots down the field. And so for the corners to stand up outside, Bryan, I thought that was a big piece of the game. We knew that would be the challenge, and they were ready to stand tall.
And another guy that's new, obviously, is Trey Amos. We talked about him a little bit in the last video breakdown we did. His composure just seems to be on another level. Like, is he getting mentorship, or is that just kind of how he's wired?
There's probably a little bit of both. And
like there always is, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But speaking about resilience, like he missed a tackle early and then came back a play or two later and made an excellent PBU, with him and Neighbors on a deep ball. So that's also part of learning and growing. Like as a rookie, like there's going to be a bad play, there's going to be something that doesn't go quite right, and like how quickly do you get back up off the mat and go play and not bring the previous play into the last one. And so I was super pumped to see guys like him and Connerly get their first taste of it and just go battle.
It's hard to have any negatives when you talk about a defense and you give up 0 touchdowns. And a lot of that was that physicality we saw. Is that something that's innate, or is that something that's being coached up each and every week? Because the energy, like Logan said earlier, was just through the roof.
Well, it's definitely part of like who we want to be. And so I would say those are traits when we're scouting and looking at guys. Okay, that's it. That's the attitude, that's the toughness. But there's also a connection that takes place, and knowing that the guy, you can take it to a new space because you're doing it, with the guys right next to you, and that helps too. And so I like where, like I said, we're growing, and that defense, especially for some of the ones last year, like they want to elevate players and staff alike, and one game doesn't do that, but I like where we're headed and the growth that we're going to see.
Obviously, got a tough matchup this week with the Green Bay Packers. They want, they kind of got all these different formations and motions, but to me, they're like a downhill, run at you kind of football team.
Yeah.
So, how important is it that these guys come on a short week and bring that same physicality and toughness we saw?
Yeah, for sure. You're right, Logan. Like they've got a ground and pound mentality about them, because their line, their tight end, their backs, they work so well in concert together. So speed of a formation or trying to get somebody with a bad leverage, but it starts with zone and man as their running back. the real
He's
deal.
an impressive player, man.
Yeah.
People sleep on him, I think.
For sure.
It's his foot in the ground. He can cut. He can move the pile. So for sure, for us, a real challenge.
Yeah.
A real challenge.
And Coach, when you look over to that offense, Logan had mentioned it, it's not always easy to build that camaraderie, that cohesion, but it seems like Jaden Daniels and Deebo Samuel have that tenfold. That connection was just so great to watch, especially because those guys haven't got to play together. How are you looking to build on that and keep that connection going?
Yeah, I think we're hungry for a higher step. If you'd asked the offensive guys, they'd say when you're just a tick off on some plays to ones that could go big, there's an angst about it.
It hurts more, man. Right. It hurts more. It hurts more. It stings.
You're closer, but you're not there.
Yeah.
And that's what I expect us to keep working on, to keep doing. And Bryan, the only place that you work on that is out of practice. Like, you can watch it on film, you can talk about it, but like, it has to go down at practice. And just more reps together, more time together. That's what we intend on doing.
And is there any way you can accelerate that process? Like, is it their connection? Because like, I think about Julio and Matt, and Julio wouldn't always practice, but they always had a great, in Atlanta when I was with you, and they always had a great connection. Is there any way that they can kind of say, hey, let's go watch some film together, let's go grab lunch and talk about this?
We do that, and that's what's nice to see that does happen, because spacing, an alignment, a certain location, that this is where the ball needs to be, or this is where I need you on this time. And so Deebo has really benefited from that, because all offseason and all training camp, he got so many more reps with Jaden. And so that was a big factor for him to really go. And so the rest of the guys, like, we'll level up, and there's a hunger to do that.
Talk about hungry. You look at our rushing attack. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt leads us in rushing yards, but doesn't get his first carry till the second quarter. That explosive, what he was able to do, man. How proud of you to see a 7th-round pick who missed all of last year be able to go out there on that stage and perform like that.
Yeah, and that's all the things that we thought would be there, because it wasn't something that anybody inside the locker room was that surprised about. I was probably the least surprised because I had seen it every day in practice. And so I was certain there was a play that he would make, because in practice, there's that cut, there's that play. And almost every day, almost every time, Bryan, there was a play or a moment to say, there it is again, there it is again.
Yeah.
And so, again, keep training, and like, he'll take off too. We missed some plays with him. We thought there was an excellent chance for a big play on a screen. We didn't hit it. So, like, the term that you'll hear coaches say, there's a lot of meat still on the bone.
Logan uses that a lot.
It's good and a bad thing, right?
Yeah, because you want to make sure, you want to nail your ops when they're getting there. But what I was really pumped, like, he wasn't over trying. And that's a real thing as a young player, to prove it. He desperately wants to prove he belongs and prove he can make plays here. And we already trust him. And so he just has to, run in the system, and I was really pumped to see him do that.
Well, anytime a running back does a good job, I think it's probably more credit to he deserves credit, but it's offensive line, blocking surface players, tight ends.
Yeah.
I thought Connerly, like, obviously there were some ups and downs, but I thought more ups than downs, definitely. Laramie Tunsil did an excellent job. Can you talk about that group? I just thought they just played, talk about missing some time. They just played with incredible consistency and physicality, which was great to see.
Physicality. That is the thing that I felt, in all three phases, could we demonstrate that? And what I mean by demonstrate, like, you have to see it on the field. You got to see it on tape. It's one thing to talk about it, but like, we know what physicality looks like. And we had to see that. And so that was good to see. I like the variety of runs. We had ones from the quarterback, ones from the running back, ones from the wide receiver. There was gap schemes, there was misdirection. And so knowing that we've got a full complement in, and we're just, hopefully to try to build and go. If you have a good running game, the passing game, especially on early downs, are much, much more effective, because you want to get downhill and then you can rip them on a play pass, and vice versa. So it's a really important part of what we do.
And Coach, we talked about last week that the Giants would be a great test for this offensive line. Well, the Packers, another great test for them. Got a guy like Micah Parsons, who you are very familiar with. He's kind of following you around a little bit. How do you prepare this offensive line for such a talented group, especially with such a quick turnaround?
Yeah, well, I think, like you said, you ask the players, what'd you learn from the game? Like Burns, and I asked Connolly, what'd you learn and where'd you grow, and what do you want to do different? And so you want to go through those experiences to grow. And as far as Green Bay, they do have a good front, and it'll be an excellent challenge for us. Not every game is played exactly the same, so I won't share that on the command center here in the Big Bear AI cave, but we will have a way that,
do
the things that we do best. But he's a fantastic player. He's got rare quickness, for a defensive end, and he'll be, even with a team of fast players like they have, he'll be one of the fastest players on their team.
Coach, congrats on the Week 1 win. We appreciate you, but Logan's itching to get into that film study.
Let's do it.
Let's go ahead and do it. There's no more fun in film study than after a win. Let's get to it. Thanks, Coach. Always great getting to catch up with Coach and Logan. We'll hear more from them later on in the film study. But first, it's time for our Prime Player, brought to you by DC Prime, Loudon's premier steakhouse. For dinner reservations or private dining, call 703-840-2099. Now, Green Bay isn't the only team with a standout defensive line. Our guy, Daron Payne, was in his bag Week 1 versus the New York Giants, putting up some prime numbers. 4 total tackles, a sack, a tackle for loss, and 2 pass deflections. He got in there in a bunch of different ways. Great to see Daron Payne show up and show out. Payne and the defensive line are going into another tough battle this Thursday night against the Green Bay Packers. Now we got to go to break, but coming up, you won't want to miss Coach and Logan getting into the film study to talk about highlights from Week 1. There's a lot of them, trust me. And later on, Logan, Coach, and I will count down the kickoff. We'll be back right after this break.
The Game Plan is presented by the Salisbury University Seagulls in support of alumnus Dan Quinn. And by the Maryland Lottery Fast Play Games. Play fast, win fast today. Please play responsibly.
Welcome back into the Game Plan with Dan Quinn, presented by Salisbury University. Now it's time for Film Study, sponsored by Salisbury University Seagulls in support of alumnus Dan Quinn.
All right, Coach, this is my favorite part of the show, is get to talk a little bit ball with you. And this was one of those plays that I kind of like, it's different now, right? It's different kind of in terms of what we can do on the defensive line. We're going to get a stunt here, over the top little gaff exchange. And I love this too, with this kind of this 4-man structure. And we got these overhang players here, which was awesome. Just something different to throw at the guys. But just talk about Kinlaw, this play, and why it's effective.
Yeah, sometimes you want a guy who can be a big 5 technique or a big 4 technique. And so onto this one, Logan, the guys are slanting over towards where the tight ends are. So often you see that, against this kind of formation. So we're trying to send them that way, all right, see if they can go be disruptive. And then when that happens, it allows Wagner to now be able to flow on the backside. So I like the movement. I like the quickness. And when you have a stunt, man, you got to beat somebody to the punch. I thought he did a nice job of aggressively going after it.
Because you've coached for a long time, and I played for a long time, watched a lot of football. How many times do you see guys get caught and there's a crease?
Yes.
And so it's great to see this kind of movement. Everybody's where they're supposed to be. We're gumming it up. Everyone, you got contained players, and we're gap sound, and we got 2 free hitters in the hole.
Yeah, I like the aggressive nature. I like guys playing square, and no better linebacker than Wags to play square. Like, this guy is the epitome of playing linebacker.
Yeah, man, it's awesome watching him play. It kind of reminds me of like playing with Fletch, just a guy, like you said this before, seen 1,000 reps, done 1,000 tackles, and still has the ability to execute at a high level.
He doesn't get bored of doing it right all the time.
Right. And, I can't resist this. This is, Daron Payne. He's coming out of the stack. It's a screen here. These guys are going to work to the perimeter here. And it looks like they've got some action.
Yes.
But great job by old 94 here, kind of feeling this out, excuse me, and making a play on the ball.
Logan, be proud of him, man. He's been so intentional for off-season training camp to ready. Like, he can't help but play good with the type of work that he's put in. Like, it's been that impressive. And so to see this big guy on the run and just absolutely flying out of the stack, because these plays can get a crease in a hurry. They got a tight end out block, and here's an offensive lineman. And so that kind of speed coming out, that type of quickness, that's a big deal.
And when you look at the numbers, it's a little bit dicey. Could be dicey.
That's right.
Debo, we had one where they were able to kind of get a nice 8-yard gain offensively. The Commanders were. So the thing that prevents that is big guys running fast, working hard out of the stack.
And they got to absolutely fly and see it quickly. And so, this is an excellent play.
Yeah, awesome to see that. And again, I don't have a lot of special teams plays with you usually, right? But sometimes there are special teams plays. And this one I thought was an excellent job by Nick Bellore. And again, one of the reasons I love watching the show is I said, oh, Nick, great tackle, great job. But you pointed out great gunner work, and we can never sleep on great gunner work.
Yeah, so the outside guys in this one are Tyler Owens and Percy Butler. And so their responsibility, Logan, is to be able to contain this and keep a inside shoulder leverage on the returner, and inside shoulder leverage so he can't break contain, which allows the inside guys to absolutely run and hit. And so we call the inside guys the hitmen. And you see on this one, Bellore, because they can't get outside, it allows these guys to absolutely sprint through the ball. This was close. We thought there was a real chance to this ball to come out, but a fantastic job of leveraging by the gunners, and then a nice job as a hitman, Nick, inside to go get a real shot at the ball.
And it's so funny you talk about the alley, the hitman, right? Because, like, look at I didn't even notice it, but you got 4 guys kind of covering that space.
That's correct, yes.
And you're trusting that these guys are doing what they're supposed to do.
Yes.
That's great. Great execution, great teamwork right there.
If they do that just right and own the leverage, knowing that he can't get outside to either one, it allows the inside players to absolutely go rip, whether it was going to be, inside for Yankoff or Ballor or Revo, but it was going to happen for someone.
It's been a long time since I've seen a hit like this. Great job by him getting square, same foot, same shoulder, and delivering a blow, man. That's fantastic to see. And then D-line play, I know you're a defensive line coach, and I get fired up when I see good timing and good connection for guys that are kind of new to the game here, right? We're going to get, I don't know what you call it, 3-man game is what I'm going to call it, where you're going to get kind of a stunt across here. We're going to get a pick. He's going to loop around. It's a really nice executed deal here, and I just love it when a plan comes together, as they say.
Yeah, like the A-team.
Yes.
Well, what you like about this, Logan, maybe you can, the slide where it comes, and there's 3 men that go, and so you can get trapped into there, and then here's a man side. So how do you try to break that slide? You can cross face, and then by the width of these guys, the guard and the tackle allowing it to go, now there could be some space in the 3-man tackle, because if Duran doesn't get him, then we expect Frankie to be the one that would get him inside. So it's an excellent job by Duran of crossing face, getting vertical to go get a pick onto the guard, and then allowing Frankie and he to really be disruptive inside.
And I think it's about the getting vertical. A lot of times you see, like, high school kids, they just run right into that guy and get blocked, but he's attacking an edge, pushing vertical, and just able to finish on the score.
They're just basically changing jobs,
Yeah.
It's like the tackles are becoming the ends, and the inside guys, he's becoming the right tackle, he's becoming the left tackle. These guys are the DN, so just because where they start doesn't mean that's where they have to end up.
Yeah, and it's beautifully timed, beautifully executed, and putting those guys in a blender, right?
That's right.
So it's awesome to see. And then this was a sneaky one, right? Because it's coverage and incomplete pass, but you guys were in a lot of man coverage. This to me looks like man. It looks like, I've got this guy, I've got this guy, I've got this guy, I've got this guy. One of us has got him. So man situation, and then one of the best things the defense could do is kind of hold their cards close to the vest and disguise this thing. Great execution here.
Yeah, this was a nice job by the players to show man and then look like it, and so they're trying to high-low on both sides, to where a pick route down on the bottom in case it's man-to-man, high-low some people in the zone. So it still takes the rush in this instance to cage the quarterback in. So often, Logan, you see down in the red zone, the quarterback can buy time by getting outside the pocket. So I thought this was a nice job by the ends of just caging it, keeping Russell in the pocket, which allows Marshawn to be able to read Russ and then sink underneath the high route and make a really good play on the ball.
I mean, it's just awesome to see this level of execution. Can't wait to watch you guys against Green Bay, man. That's always a blast.
Yeah, we're ready to get rocking again.
Always great learning from head coach Dan Quinn and Logan Paulsen. Now it's time to get ready for our must-watch moment presented by Marsh McLennan Agency, your partner in risk and people strategies. Our must-watch moment from Week 1 versus the New York Giants was running back Bill Krosky-Merritt, scoring his first ever touchdown in the NFL. The rookie took it in for 6 on a 6-yard touchdown run in the second quarter to put Washington up 14-3. The first of many for our guy Bill. Now let's take a look at more of the upcoming competition. It's time for a competitive edge brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official partner of the Washington Commanders. Now here's a look at some of the numbers from Week 1 for Washington and for the Green Bay Packers. Now the Burgundy and Gold put up 21 points with a touchdown from Bill Krosky-Merritt, Deebo Samuel, and Zach Ertz. Last weekend was the Commanders' first time holding an opponent to 0 touchdowns in a season opener since 1991. Now Washington's defense will face off against quarterback Jordan Love, who had a dynamic game on Sunday, completing 16 of 22 passes and throwing for 188 yards and 2 touchdowns in the Packers' win over the Detroit Lions. The Commanders will play their first primetime game for Week 2. So be sure to stick around, Commanders family, because Logan, Coach, and I will be right back to count down the kickoff and talk more about this primetime matchup. Welcome back into Game Plan with Dan Quinn, presented by Salisbury University. It's time for your winning numbers, brought to you by Maryland Lottery. Please play responsibly. Now, our winning numbers this week are from our big offseason acquisition, wide receiver Deebo Samuel Sr. In his Washington debut, Deebo was the Commanders' leading receiver with 77 yards on 10 targets and 7 receptions. He also finished with one 19-yard rushing touchdown in the fourth quarter to put Washington up 21-6. Now, Deebo was a big part of our offensive success in Week 1, and we can't wait to see what else he's able to accomplish finish in week 2. Now it's time for our countdown to kickoff, presented by SeatGeek. The most disruptive idea in ticketing, a ticket that works. Expect the expected. SeatGeek. Coach, always a fun show with you. Before we let you go and get ready for this game, it's a quick turnaround.
Yes.
And it's on the road. How do you prepare your team for that and get ready, especially with a lot of young guys?
Well, we have a real process like every game that we go through to try and get there. Most teams have a lot of carryover in their systems. You know, you just got out of training camp for us.
Yeah.
So most all of the installs and things we have are pretty fresh. And so you want to rely on some of the things that you know you're excellent at. You want to rely in games like this on your fundamentals, make sure your tackling's good, you know, taking care of the ball, doing those things, and allow that play style to really come out. So both teams will be into that same approach. But during the early part of the week, it's slower. Let the guys get there, and then we'll hit the road Wednesday, and then we'll be absolutely, you know, ready to fly on Thursday night.
I was going to say, it is a little different, obviously, because of short week. I always felt like the team that was more emotionally ready for the game,
Right on.
regardless of scheme, was the one that kind of figured it out.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. And so for us to be able to play on 9/11, you know, like that was my first year in the NFL, to say when the world stopped, and football did too, it was also cool to see us be part of the healing, you know, for the country. Like games went on, and, you know, like as you saw how important football is. So what a cool honor for us, talking about emotionally, but being able to go play on 9/11 in front of the nation and saying that's the only game on that night. Like, what a great night to tribute to part of football and how important football is to our country, and knowing that on this day, 24 years ago, it was a really rough day. And so football being part of the healing and getting to, you know, have this experience again with Green Bay there on a Thursday night, like, it's awesome, man.
Coach, what a great perspective, and that was
I
awesome.
feel like I'm
Thank
ready
you
to
so
play
much.
right now.
I'm about to say that was awesome, and thank you. Talk about healing. Thank you for being part of our healing here with the Burgundy and Gold. We're so happy to have you, Coach. Thank you for taking the time with us. Good luck today. Commanders family, let's get this win over the Green Bay Packers.
The Game Plan, sponsored by Salisbury University, was filmed at the Big Bear AI Command Center studio. Big Bear AI offers mission-ready AI for a rapidly evolving world, proudly protecting the Washington Commanders and its fans.